And now is the time for our meditation time, and we're at the beginning of Lent, and the Unity booklet theme is Release and Renew. Release and renew. So that's what we're going to focus on in the meditation. So I invite you just to get in a relaxed position, comfortable, close your eyes if you so desire, and just breathe calmly, naturally. And as you exhale, affirm release. So just think release on an exhale. Release. And then on our in-breath, we affirm renew. So I release, I renew. I release, I renew. So let's just continue that rhythm of breathing. As I cite these affirmations on release and renewal and take them into our hearts. I release a habit of judging others. I renew my commitment to see the divine in all beings. I release doubt, confusion, and indecision. I renew my divine power of wisdom. I release my habit of worrying. I renew my faith in divine order. I release any apathy or boredom. I renew my zeal and enthusiasm. I release the fear of not having enough. I renew my awareness of abundance in my life. I release the habit of digging in my heels. I renew my practice of non-resistance. I release thoughts or fears of illness. I renew my openness to the healing power of spirit. I release my fears of being alone. I renew my connection with spirit, self, and others. I release old grudges and resentments. I renew inner peace by forgiving. I release anger and blame. I renew my patience and compassion. And I release any belief in limitation. I renew my sense of possibility. So let us continue with our breathing to release and renew, and take one of these statements into the silence that resonates for you to contemplate. And now, as we return to this space and this focus, I remember that I can renew myself and my mind at any time. And I can release anything that's in my mind that does not serve me, does not serve our higher good, and does not serve the world. And for this beautiful power that I have within, I'm grateful and grateful to share with all the world. Amen. Thank you, Pete. Beautiful as always, and handpan. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone. And before I get into the message, just want to do a little quick preamble on a number of people said it's good to see someone live today. So and I was like, are you sure I'm alive? Or, but, anyways, yes, so what we're going to have is between now and Easter, basically every other week we're going to have someone here live. So in 2 weeks we have Reverend Matt Jones, who's coming from Tampa, Florida, just for us. So I hope people will be here in a couple weeks, and after that, 2 weeks later, we have Reverend Aubrey Lynn, who's the Unity Minister in Sheboygan, and she'll be here. And then Easter, I'll be here. We're planning some special Easter services. So we'll be alternating a little bit with the video in the upcoming weeks. Just want to let you know that. So here we are. All right, good morning. And today is the first Sunday of Lent. So we have two sources for today. Keep It True Lent is a book by Charles Fillmore, and we're going to be taking a look at that. Jeff is going to be leading a book group on Tuesdays for those that are interested. And then also Release and Renew, as I did in the meditation, is kind of the theme from Unity this year with the booklet that they produce every year. So today's the first Sunday of Lent, and some people really connect with Lent, and some people it's like, what is Lent? Right? And I'm kind of that way too. The first thing is, Lent is a church tradition. It's not something that was in the New Testament or something that way. It was something that was created by the church at some point in time, okay, in the past, and especially in the Catholic tradition. I think Lent was probably more significant than others. I was brought up Protestant, Lutheran. We had Lent, but it was like, it's Lent. We didn't really... Yeah, well, actually, we didn't give up anything. But, one of the funniest things is what I remember about Lent as a kid, growing up in public schools in Milwaukee, is Friday we had fish sticks for lunch. It was like, Fridays in Lent we had fish because they gave up meat, Catholics and stuff, and it was like, okay. So that's my recollection of Lent, is like fish sticks at school lunch. But there is a biblical theme to the 40 days. So 40 is used in the Bible numerous places as a preparation time and a completion of preparation time. So it was used by Moses, Elijah, Jesus off in the wilderness for the 40 days, 40 nights. And that's what Lent is based on. It's meant to be a preparation or a foundation for a new beginning, which is Easter. Okay? So, now, again, all these things are a little wonky because it's church related. So the 40 days in Lent doesn't count Sundays. So that's why it doesn't quite add up when you look at the number of days and things like that. So, so roughly 40 days. Preparation for the Christ coming is essentially what we're looking at here. And so what does that mean to us today? Well, it means a lot of different things to different people, but from Keep a True Lent, I want to just read this statement by Charles. To observe Lent according to the Spirit rather than the letter, we must fast from criticism and condemnation and feast in brotherly love. Okay? Fast from false beliefs in sickness and weakness and feast on the truth of God's omnipresent, perfect life. Fast from false beliefs in lack and limitation and feast on the truth of God's bountiful good will. Ideas such as these form an excellent basis for Lenten meditations that help establish permanent spiritual values in heart and mind. And another valuable way of observing the Lenten season is to fast from and loose and let go of any false beliefs that keep us from our higher good. So in Unity, we take a more metaphysical approach than just giving up meat or something like that, you know. It's what are we giving up in our thoughts, in our minds, in our hearts, in our emotions, okay? We want to shift those things. That's what we're focusing on for Lent, so that we can express more of the Christ that we are, because we are all the Christ. We are all expressions of the Christ. So let's get our preparation ready to do that. So one of the basic metaphysical things in Unity is, you know, I choose how I experience my life. And a lot of my experience of life, or our experience of life, is based on the thoughts I have, the images I see and look at, my feelings, my actions, okay, all those things. Now, what's the good news about that? It's all in my control, right? No one is going to make me think something. Lloyd, I want you to think this. Okay. I know, you've been trying a long time, right? Yeah. So it's not what other people think that counts, and I can't make you think something, and you can't make me think something. That's the beauty of this. That's free will. Okay? As human beings, we have that choice, and no one else is making it for us. So if we have things in our minds and hearts that aren't serving us, or are hurting us, or we're feeling traumatized by, we have the power to change it, and that's what this is about. Changing those things that hurt us and hurt others. Now also, we have a lot of stuff going on in the world, right? And our opening prayer with Ukraine and things, that's the other part of it is world peace starts here, okay? It starts with me, it starts with each one of us in our minds and our hearts. What's in there, okay? If we're not at peace, how can we expect others to be at peace? And if you believe in us all being connected in consciousness, if I'm not peaceful in mind, then I'm not adding to peace to the world. I'm adding to fear or to anxiety or stress or whatever it is that I'm stressed out about. Okay? So I want to bring my mind and my soul into peaceful alignment so that world peace can be created. And be a part of it in whatever way is mine to do. Okay? So what do we want to release? Well, judgments. A lot of judgments. A lot of stress, anxiety, and fears come from judgments. And judgments not just of other people, but of ourselves too. So for these things, always think about how am I using this thinking about others, but also myself. Am I judging myself in ways that aren't really beneficial, aren't really positive, aren't really helpful or truthful, okay? As well as others. Assumptions we make about who someone is by what they say, how they look, the color of their skin, to this, to that, whatever it is, assumptions, resentments. If we hang on to resentment and anger with someone, who are we hurting? Ourselves, right? Because it's the other person isn't hanging on to the resentment, it's me. And that destroys my consciousness, not the other person. That hurts me. So I don't want that. I need to let that go, okay? And then there's one funny saying that I've heard before that it's also like, you don't want to lose weight. Like if we think for Lent, I'm going to lose 5 pounds, okay? Some people do things like that. You don't want to lose weight because what do you do if you lose something? Yeah, you go find it. It comes back. You got to find it. You search for it till you get it back. All right? So don't lose weight. You want to release it. Just let it go. So that's the difference in some of these things that can be fun, but yet practical. We've been doing a book study group, and, oops, I think I hit the wrong button. Yeah, there we go. We've been doing this book study group, some of us, a couple book study groups, and on resilience and the 12 powers by Reverend Sharon Connors. And this question she posed in the book, and it just kind of blew my mind at the moment. It's, what is the most important conversation to stop having with yourself? Okay? What is the most important conversation to stop having with yourself? Because a lot of times we have things going on, about ourselves, and we don't even realize it half the time. It's subconscious, unconscious kind of thing. But it's really important to think about, what am I telling myself about myself or about others? Okay? And process that. I'm still processing it. I'm trying to figure it out, myself. The other thing she says is also, what conversation should you start having with yourself? So we're going to stop some conversation. What's a better conversation? What's a more constructive conversation? A affirming conversation to have with yourself? I mean, we all have a lot of self-talk. We have the monkey mind. We have various fears and various things that hit us. And some of the conditions out there, we have absolutely no control over, right? I mean, the pandemic, for example. I mean, what am I going to do? But we all have dealt with it, right? So how do we deal with it? And what are we coming out of that? I mean, because I've felt anxiety. Everyone has felt some kind of stuff around the pandemic, and we've learned certain things, and then we've got to let some of that go too and move on to the next thing. Okay. So how do we do this? Well, we got to cleanse our minds, right? We got to wash it out. And meditation and prayer, we teach in Unity, is a key way of doing it, and other traditions too that rely on meditation and prayer, because this is really where we can turn our consciousness over and feel and experience spirit in consciousness in meditation and prayer. And when we can get our minds focused in that way, in a way that's really positive. I've been studying some Buddhism in the last year, classes, and one of their beliefs is that if you meditate and really get to the space where you're not thinking about all this stuff, our minds are actually naturally peaceful and positive. Naturally peaceful and positive. And so I believe that too. So we can use meditation and prayer to help us get to that natural, peaceful, positive place. In Unity, we also teach denials and affirmations, and you can get a lot more into that later on, but just want to make sure people understand what we're talking about in denial is not denying the pandemic exists or something. We're denying the power of it over me. So in other words, my feelings, my actions based on it, it's not making me do things. I deny the power of it to scare me or to hurt me or whatever it is. We're denying the power of it. We're not denying the condition. Okay? And then we fill it with an affirmation, a positive peace. And we did that in the meditation. Forgiveness. Jesus taught forgiveness constantly, and it's a critical thing. And the more you can get in a forgiving mind, the better off you'll be. And again, not just of others, but of yourself. I mean, have you ever screwed up and then gave yourself a really hard time about it? Or even were afraid of screwing up and gave yourself a hard time about it? Those kinds of things. So we want to forgive others and ourselves. And then also look for the light. There's a lot of stuff we can find if we look for the bad or look for the dark, right? You could sit all day and watch the news or whatever you want and find a lot of darkness, okay? So that's up to us, though. We can choose to look for the light instead of just the darkness. And that means changing our focus. Instead of fear and how horrible everything is and what's going on. And I'm not saying don't be aware. I'm just saying don't obsess and go down that road and down the tunnel of negativity. Focus on some other things, gratitude. And this is something I realized, actually, just about a month ago, I started a change in my own little routine. I realized I was waking up in the morning, and then I started thinking about stuff that I was concerned about or stressed me out or whatever. Anyone ever do that? Okay. So I said, this is getting really ridiculous. This isn't helping. So now when I wake up in the morning, I purposely do gratitude. I purposely start being thankful for the fact I'm in a bed, in a house, I have a place, and all the things that I'm grateful for that I'm so blessed with compared to many people in the world that aren't. So I've shifted that, and it actually helps. So that gratitude is a great way to shift your focus. Another practical way is to help someone else. And I know we have a lot of people in here who do a lot of volunteer things and have a lot of causes, and that's great. And it helps people, but it also helps you because it takes your mind off of you, and you start focusing on what you can do for others. That makes an impact on you by letting go, releasing your stuff because you're not focusing on it, and then you're renewing yourself with helping others. And you get that benefit too, and they get the benefit. So helping someone else can really shift our mindset. And then seek positive inputs. Again, this is totally up to us. We can watch the news, we can watch whatever we want, or we could read, or we could meditate, or we could whatever, do different things. And I've got a funny thing that I discovered. Now that I don't work full time, I actually can turn on TV during the day. And actually, what's become my favorite show is Kelly Clarkson at 3 o'clock. And the reason is she's so positive. And she actually, every show she has multiple positive stories. She always ends the show with something she's liking and people doing great things. And it's everything from people teaching kids to ride bikes to opening up a restaurant and on Saturdays and having everyone in the neighborhood come and eat for free as long as they gather together and all these positive things. It's great. So I'm like, I'd rather watch that than watch CNN or something, So choose our inputs, and whether it's spiritual, and that's another part of it, is actually focusing on some spiritual work, read scripture, read unity books, read whatever turns you on. I've been studying some Buddhism in the last year, so various things. Seek positive inputs. It's totally in our control. So, what's the process? This is a few questions here to think about. So the first question is, what am I holding on to? Is there something I'm holding on to that isn't serving me? Okay, in my thoughts, in my emotions. Why am I holding on to this? Because ultimately there is some reason it's there, right? I mean, it's in your experience, it's in your mind, it's in your soul, your body. So why am I holding on to it? It must have served me in some way, or I had something with it. How could I release this? What do I need to do to let this go for myself? What do I need to do to just let this go? And that might mean having a conversation with someone. It might mean, cleansing in some other way. It might just mean meditation and prayer. But how could I release this? And then think about what could change if I did that. So if I release this, if I stop thinking this way, if I stop acting this way, if I release this, what could come from that? What could be the benefits of that? So these questions help us think about it in a way that actually can create change. So I'd encourage you to think about these things and think about something you're holding on to, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, okay? It could be a physical thing, and it could be a mental thought thing. It's just like I shared, where I would wake up in the morning start thinking about stuff that would bother me. Well, I shifted that to the gratitude in the morning instead, okay? It's that simple. But we have to do that for ourselves. That's what worked for me for that particular thing. That isn't necessarily what's going to work for you for your thing. So figure that out and work on changing that. And that's what this whole Lenten season is about. It's preparation. It's preparation to be the Christ we are. Easter is about Christ rising in us. We have all of the Christ powers. We have everything Jesus had and shared with us and said we could do greater things than these. And this is our time to get our minds and bodies in alignment with that so that we can really express the Christ through us. And that's the Easter message. So with that, I say, please go ahead and prepare this 40 plus days of Lent in a way that releases that which isn't serving and renews the Christ spirit that you are. Namaste.
Kansas, oh, okay, didn't know. Left Overture? Oh, okay. All right. And now the Unity Weekend updates. Sorry, Martin, I'm a little out of sync here. First thing is Keep a True Lent. We have a class. Tuesdays, 6:30 to 7:30. Jeff in the back is leading that. Begins March 8th, so that would be this next Tuesday. If you're joining to sign up, contact Jeff Nesta at jeffnesta3@gmail.com. You can see the email newsletter for more information. If you're joining Jeff's class, there are book copies in the lending library, and also Diane has let us, excuse me? Oh, they're up here in the foyer? Oh, wow, 15 books. If you would also like to buy one, Diane is... They're on the bookstore. Oh, they're all in the bookstore. Okay, correct. All in the bookstore. The ones that you can buy and the ones that you can borrow. Okay, well, see the person in the bookstore. They know what's going on. At this point, I don't. Okay. So... Guest speakers, Sunday, March 13th, Reverend Martha Creek, and Sunday, March 20th, Reverend Matt Jones, coming up here from Florida. Wow. Okay. Unity Care Team. Our newest ministerial team here to support the congregation with visits and to identify community resources for you. Contact Ann Zenner at 608-230-6601 or email at annmunkris@wisc.edu. And available in the foyer, you can pick up a list of Unity's ministry teams from the bulletin boards. And there's also the Lenten brochures are available in the Welcome Center. And I've started reading mine. There are many more events happening. Visit unityofmadison.org for additional events and details. We have the intention group and many other wonderful things going on. And with that,